Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Andrew with All Things Fantasy, and today I'm bringing you another video, and I'm going to be talking about the top 50 overall players for fantasy this year. And I figured I'd make this video because this way it kind of gives you like one top solid list to go off of all the players together instead of having to pull from your wide receivers and your running backs, and it kind of just makes it a little bit more organized in your draft, so you don't have to like go back and forth between different lists. This way you kind of have it all broken down on one. So that's why I decided to make this video. Um, yeah, and I figured the top 50 was probably good enough. If you want, I guess I can do 50 to 100. Um, yeah, so and then being in top 50, all these players are going to be running backs, receivers, and then there are a few tight ends. Um, Obviously, that's sticking by like my strategy of waiting to draft the QB until after the sixth round. And if you look at ESPN's ranking, they do have like I think three QBs inside their top 50 overall. But I obviously like um, move them out of my top 50 just because of the draft strategy that I use. Yeah, so let's get into it. I want to do this like pretty fast because 50 names is a lot to go by, and like I already talked about all these players in my previous videos. So if you want like to know a little bit more, you can go check those out. Um, but I'm just kind of looking to kind of go off and read all the names, and then kind of like highlight key players that I moved up or down from ESPN's list. Yeah, so no surprise. Antonio Brown number one, OBJ number two, and Julio number three. The best wide receivers in the game right now. They all deserve to be up there. And then rounding out, I got David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell. Now, if you notice, Le'Veon Bell has slipped significantly in ESPN's list. I still kept him in my top five because I felt like even though he's gonna because one his suspension isn't for sure, and he like tweeted out that he recently that he's not gonna miss a game this year and all this stuff. So as of right now, he's still in my top five. Um, if he does get a suspension, then it maybe moves down a little bit, but still like um, I don't put him as far down as ESPN's gonna put him. But yeah, so that's my top five. 6 through 10, Todd Gurley, AP, Hopkins, Bryant, and Freeman to round out the 10. A lot of people have AP as their number one running back. I just personally don't agree with that. He's getting older, and I think some of these younger guys are a lot better and gonna have better season. Um, yeah, Hopkins and Bryant, two, um, two more elite wide receivers. And then Freeman, obviously, he has a little bit of question mark to like kind of if Freeman have the same season as he did last year. There's not as much like guarantee in Freeman as there are in smaller guys, but from what we saw last year, we can pretty much um, we can pretty much predict that he's going to have a similar season. All right, 11 through 15. This is where we start our first tight end in Gronk. Gronk, I definitely think is either early second round pick or late first round pick, depending on the size of your league. Um, 12, Brandon Marshall, Robinson, two elite receivers right there, and then Jamal Charles at 14. ESPN, I think ESPN had Jamal Charles a lot lower on their overall, and I just didn't know why. I felt like they just weren't giving her enough respect. And then 15, AJ Green, um, another great elite receiver. 16, Lamar Miller. Um, Again, another good running back, another solid running back. 17, Jeffrey. 18, Martin. 19, Watkins, and 20, Elliott. I'll talk about Elliott. Again, ESPN had him ranked in like their top 10. I think for overall, and it was just insane. Like this guy hasn't played it down in the NFL yet, and like they have him ranked so high and everything. Like they're like first round pick. I'm like, I just don't think so. I'm thinking, late second round pick for him. Like, I just, to me, like, he hasn't, like, like I said, he hasn't played down in the NFL. Like, he hasn't proven himself at all. He's just a rookie. And, like, yeah, obviously Dallas's offense, you know, has struggled. So, we just don't know what we can expect. And I'm not ready to risk Ezekiel Elliott for a first round pick. And, if somebody in your league does, good for them if it works out, but I think it's a huge risk. And I'm trying to draft with the least, like, I'm trying to, for a season long league, like, I want to eliminate my risk. Like I talked about in my other video about DFS, how risk is like can be a good thing obviously if it works out in your favor, but for season long, you want to eliminate as much risk as possible. 21 through 25, Mike Evans, Mark Ingram, Thomas Rawls, Jordy Nelson, and Keenan Allen. So, two guys to talk about is Ingram. Ingram is this guy, like ESPN had him a little bit higher, and I moved him down basically off of, I'm not an Ingram fan. I feel like he is just too inconsistent, and Sean Payton seems like he, kind of pulls him in and out of games, and like kind of his points just kind of are really inconsistent, and it's hard to predict his performances. And then Jordy Nelson, supposedly is like injured in the off season. We don't know if he's going to be healthy for the start of the season. So like it's a new injury on top of what happened last year. He just apparently got something again. So we don't know if he'll be back. Something to keep an eye on, because if he is, obviously he's going to move down significantly. And yeah, Keenan Allen, 25. So 26 2 through 30. We have Sean McCoy, Brandon Cooks, Jordan Reed, Amari Cooper, and Matt Forte. Again, we see our second tight end in Jordan Reed, a top 30 player. And, like I said, Jordan Reed's a steal if you get him in, if you can get him in the late third round, like, if people are like sleeping on him and you get him in the fourth round, that's a great pick. But yeah, Jordan Reed's definitely one of those players that if you want that elite tight end, he's your guy. Yeah. Anybody else want to talk about? Forte, I moved up a little bit just 'cause I felt like ESPN was not giving him credit. Like he was really consistent last year, and maybe he didn't have he didn't have a lot of huge games, but he still put up respectable numbers. Yeah. 31 through 35. Demaryius Thomas, C.J. Anderson, Deion Lewis, Julian Edelman, and T.Y. Hilton. But yeah, apparently there's been rumored that Edelman and a couple other guys on the Patriots are had some injuries this offseason, and they're questionable right now, but they should be healthy. So just kind of keep a note on that. And then, like I said, I talked about Deion Lewis a lot. My mock draft when I drafted him. So if you want to know a little bit more about him or about what I think about him, check out that video. 36 through 40, Jeremy Langford, Eric Decker, Golden Tate, Eddie Lacy, Jarvis Landry. Eddie Lacy's a guy moved down a lot from ESPN's rankings. I think Eddie Lacy, I have hope for him. I think he's gonna turn it around this season. But based off we saw last season, there's no reason I should be putting him way up there and in the top 20. In the rankings, he doesn't deserve that off of what he did last season. And I just can't justify putting him that high. Golden Tate is really interesting, becoming Detroit's number one. I think he's gonna, he was pretty solid last season. A little consistent at times, but I think Golden Tate's numbers are gonna skyrocket, and he's an interesting pick. I talked about Decker in my wide receiver video, so. And all those other guys too. So, 41 through 45, Doug Baldwin, Kelvin Benjamin, Jerry Maclin, Emmanuel Sanders, and Randall Cobb. You see all wide receivers here. and some guys with some question marks. Benjamin and Randall Cobb. What are we going to get out of those guys this season? Or you know, Calvin Benjamin after missing a year. What kind of season he's going to have. He could be an elite receiver this year. He could be a top 10 receiver if he has a great season. But we just don't know. He's a guy that that you got to take some risk on. Like I said, you're trying to eliminate risk in season long. That's why he's not on my list. But maybe he's really high on somebody else's. He's a risk play, and risk plays will pay off in season long. But basically, like, they don't pay off like as much like as they do in daily fantasy. Where risky plays will pay off a lot. But if you just have a bunch of solid guys in your team for season long, that's enough to get it done. That's what you want. That's what you want. That's how you win. That's all you want to focus on is just solid guys that don't have the potential to have a really bad game. So rounding out my top 50, we see my third tight end in Greg Olsen, and then some running backs in Jonathan Stewart, Latavius Murray, and then Michael Floyd and Jay Ajayi. Jonathan's also something you might notice that like maybe some of my rankings for my running back and my receiver video, maybe some of these guys are kind of out of order of that video. Maybe I did adjust my rankings a little bit. I should have mentioned that in the beginning, but I did kind of fluctuate my rankings a little bit just because of some kind of news, either news that came out recently or just by some more things I was looking at. I kind of adjusted my rankings a little bit, but not really too much. But yeah, Jonathan Stewart was a guy I kind of moved up a little bit recently. Started to like him a little bit more. But yeah, Latavius Murray and Jay Ajayi, again, two running backs that have a lot of potential this year, but are still solid plays. And then Michael Floyd, obviously. I love all of Arizona's receiver, and then Michael Floyd's my top Arizona receiver. So yeah, that is the top 50. I guess I'll go ahead and mention like a couple players that didn't make the list, but were really close. Devontae Parker, Larry Fitz, Dante Moncrief, and then for running backs, Jeremy Hill and DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews. We're all really close as well. And then, I guess if you want to go tight ends, you can go Delaney Walker was a guy that was pretty close, I guess. But I didn't put him on this list. And then I guess if you want to go quarterbacks, you can go Cam, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. ESPN had all three of them in their top 50, and I obviously moved them out. And then Andrew Luck. But obviously, like I said, so basically, like if your draft goes similar to like what ESPN's goes, like you're not gonna get a top 3 quarterback. You're gonna be looking at, maybe Andrew Luck if you get lucky. No pun intended there. But most likely, like you're gonna be looking around like the Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, maybe a Carson Palmer, and then like I said, Tom Brady's right there, and I'd be willing to risk it. I talked about in my other video. The strategy there, drafting Tom and then waiting and drafting a quarterback in a late round. But yeah, so those are just some mentionables. I guess I can show you ESPN's rankings. I guess that didn't go for very long. That was 14 minutes. That I tried to get through pretty fast. Get Jamal Charles out. Is this? This is very new. This has happened yesterday. Oh, he's on track. Okay. I guess some people that like sometimes when they list these outs, it's just like I said, I mentioned the Nelson one, so but it's all like it's all the preseason. Like you see these probables, like you don't take them too hard, but if you see an out, I definitely like read them. These are definitely good to read, but a lot of these are just they'll kind of just throw, they won't really give you a straight answer. They're kind of just kind of beat around the bush, and it's not a lot of straight answers and news to get like, and it's also mentioned Edelman. He had surgery, but yeah, he's scheduled to go and do training camp and everything. So, but yeah, just kind of keep an eye on it. Yeah, same thing with Lewis. Yeah, like all the Patriots players. Like, and look at them. The first thing it says, undervalued fan. Like, and that's what I was talking about. And definitely in PPR leagues. I definitely would love him. He's definitely a good ball catcher. Like, he's definitely getting way more passes than most guys. But yeah, like I said, I was kind of mentioning like some other guys. Like Parker. Did I mention Fitzgerald? I'm not sure if I said his name or not. Fitzgerald, Moncrief, Hill, Matthews, Murray, Walker. Matthews has an O. Hurt his ankle. Okay, so yes, keep an eye on him. Okay, and then Sproles is back up. Okay, so yeah, let's keep an eye on that. Maybe when drafting him, maybe kind of stay away from Matthews with an ankle injury. He's definitely not a running back I'm high on either, so it's not a big loss. But yeah, here's some other guys, just outside the top 50. I think Allen Hurns is really, really, underranked. For the season he had, for like what wide receivers are over him, like Jordan Matthews, like I don't know, like Deshaun Jackson, like I don't know if I put. I really like Hurns. I don't put some of these guys. I don't put over, especially some of these running backs like Rashad Jennings, like yeah, like a lot of these guys. Like you look at these and like you look at these like the last 4 games, or whatever. Like you can't take the last 4 games with everything, right? You take it with a grain of salt because the last couple games of the season are different. Some teams are playing scrubs because a lot of people get kind of more playing time because they're resting people for playoffs, and teams are playing scrubs, and just a bunch of different factors that a lot of these players who weren't scoring a lot in the regular season now get a lot of playing time and now rack a bunch of points. So don't focus on end of the season stats as much. Where you see like Hurns, he was lighting it up all season. He had some really big games. Obviously, he had some bad games, but a lot of good games. Definitely, I think Hurns is a little underrated. But yeah, so that's okay. So I kind of talked on that page for a little too long. That was like 4 minutes just on this page. Sorry about that. So that's been my top 50 rankings. I hope this helps and makes it like easier for one list to go off of. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.